I've gone into my library and pulled out some books here with some weaving patterns or ideas. So the first one is by Knitmaster. It's the Pattern Library collection for punch card knitters. Now obviously electronics can use these books as well if you use, say, your Mylar or if you have design in it. And this has quite a few pages of both the punch card and the design. The next one, or two really, because these books I've noticed are quite identical. We have the Brother punch card volume 5 and volume 4, and in the weave-in section both of these have the same designs. There's slight differences from this one to the Knitmaster. Some are similar, and again it has about seven or eight pages with the punch card and what the fabric would look like. Finally, we have the Harmony Guide to Machine Knitting Stitches. Very good book. A lot of nice patterns in this one for the weaving. And it's this book that I'm going to be using to pick a punch card design and put into my design on it, so that I can then put it onto my electronic machine and create some fabric. I particularly like these ones where you have the floats that get lifted. They have a very good effect. So I'll have a look through and pick out a few of the designs, probably some of the simple geometric ones, as well as maybe some of the ones that look better for creating fabric for something like cut and sew. I'm going to be taking some of the patterns from this Machine Knitting Stitches Harmony Guide book, and I'm going to put it into Stitch Designer. This is so that I can use the pattern on my electronic machine. I'm going to select pattern VI19, and I'm going to start off first of all by tidying up this palette. And I want to make sure that the secondary colour, which is going to be activated by my left mouse button, has the needle coming out. If I click on that needle, it will go in. That would be your B position, and if it comes out, that will be the C position on the machine. So I'm starting off with a bog standard file as it opens up and designing it with 40 stitches and 40 rows. Now I won't need that much because the pattern in the book is for a 24 stitch punch card. I also won't need to make it 24 stitches wide, depending on the pattern. Some of them you will have to, but some of the smaller geometric style patterns I can get away with recreating a smaller section. So I'm going to come in with the pencil tool and I'm going to start transposing the holes into the design. Now all I'm wanting to do here is sort of build up from the bottom left corner and figure out where the repeat is on the height. So I can see here I have 2 squares and then the start of the next block is here. That would be my width, and then looking at the pattern, the next part that I want to stop for the height is probably 6 rows above this. Is it 6? It's 8 in total that I want. That there should actually be blocked in. So the next thing I'm going to do is come over to the minus tool, left button to get rid of rows, right button to get rid of columns. And I'm just holding that button as I drag the cursor across. And here again, that would be my repeat height. And that there would be my repeat width. So that is the smaller section of my pattern repeat, 12 by 8. And I can double check that design by coming down onto these buttons and giving it multiple repeats. So I can double check if there's anything amiss here, which there doesn't seem to be. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to select Save As. Now I already set up a Knitweave folder, but I have one of the Harmony Guide patterns from before. And I'm going to call this one Harmony _Guide _VI19. Now in the book it's written as VI.19, however I've found by putting the dot in there, much like here where you see the affix for the file is a .stp, if you put that dot in the name of the file, it will not save as an STP, and the computer will struggle to find a program to open it because it thinks you're trying to save a .19 file. Now I don't think there is such a thing, hence why it struggles to find an app to open. So just make sure if you're going to be doing any sort of special characters that you only use something like an underscore. Don't use a dot or anything that might cause a disruption as to how the file will be saved. So I can click Save on this, and I can come back in, say I want to do another one and work through a different pattern just so I have a few different choices. I have here pattern 7 and pattern 8, both from the same book again. Now pattern 7 is a sort of 1-in-1 with a diamond design. And again, first thing I want to do is sort out this colour palette so that I only have 2 colours. Make sure the dark colour I have on the like the longer needle picture, and it is activated with my left mouse button. I'm going to come in just to save on some time with the bird's eye tool, with the paintbrush, big brush, and I'm going to fill that in here. Now I don't think I'll need this big an area for the repeat, but let's just do a certain size, come back to the pencil tool and figure out where the first diamond is. First diamond on the point is the 3rd stitch in. Now this actually begins on a dot, so I'm going to get the minus, get rid of this bottom row, come back to the pencil, 3rd block in, get colours here, here, and here. Now, quick tip, because I've used the bird's eye tool, if I use the pencil and start to draw over, you can see that it actually gets rid of where the last bird's eye effect was. So what I'll have to do is double click Okay, next diamond is 6 across. There. So I should have this point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in between. Check that. 5 in between. And the same for here. 5 in between. So that would be where the next diamond is. And here. And then I need one in the middle, which is going to be the same row as this point, about here. We'll fill that in. Alright, let's come to the minus. Now I start on the first point, so I think from here I could get rid of that, and from here, oh, that's not the right button, so right click, from the point +1 there, get rid of all of that. And you'll see if we do that we're actually missing one stitch in here, So we have two crosshatch lines going diagonally with the diamonds staggered in full. Perfect. I can bring that back down. So I have a 12 by 12 pattern there, as opposed to a 24 stitch and however many rows. Obviously, if you're a punch card user, you will want more rows to allow the punch card, particularly if you're making a longer piece, it allows the punch card to cycle around if it's clipped into a cylinder. So I'm going to save as, pop it into the Knitweave, call this one Harmony Guide, and this one is number 7. Save that. You can see if I come into number 18 that I've already done, bring that down. That's the size of the stitch repeat that I need. I'm going to go across to the knitting machine next, transfer some of the patterns to the machine and pull out some yarn to start knitting. Right, I'm ready now to transfer these patterns to my machine. I have my USB connected. If you're having some trouble with the setup, go into Device Manager. Make sure that when you're in ports, make sure that devices by type is selected. And I can see here my USB to serial COM is in port 1. If I double click that, it will show me here location 1. I can close that. I can select transfer. I'm going to download to the machine. I have these selected in the right order. I've got pattern 8, pattern 7, pattern 19 and 18, which are in the wrong order. So let's just cut that one, bring in the files, bring that one in. And that way then I can write on a bit of paper for this time that 901 equals Knitweave pattern 8 and so on. Click OK. I'm happy for that. It will replace what's already in the machine, which is probably like my Christmas yoke from the year before. I am in port 1. Now, originally it was telling me port 8, but I can come in and set this up and I can select what port according to what I've found in the device manager. Press OK, download. I'm going to turn the machine on and follow the information. So I'm going to press CE 551, memory 1, memory. And that should, yep, okay, we're downloading, perfect. And once that's downloaded, I can then come back, set up my yarn, get the carriage set up, and I'll show you how to work Knitweave on the brother. That's it, job done. Over to the knitting machine. I've loaded in a 4-ply. I've got some thick Aran weight here on a cone that I'm going to use for the Knitweave. I'll thread that up into my tension mast. Your other alternative would be to feed from the floor, but it's entirely up to you. You can refer to your user manual for your machine. Turn my machine on, pop in my pattern number. In this case I will opt for V18 from the Harmony guidebook. And that's pattern 902. Going to knit across outside my ton mark, turn to KC1, then I'm going to come back across. Being outside the ton mark means that it picks up the pattern. There we go. When the needles have been selected, I'm going to put down the weaving brushes and bring in the thick yarn, and I'm going to guide it in on the side of the sinker plate. You can either tie it off onto your table clamp or put a peg in the end. There are two metal leaves on the top here, which is where I want to place the yarn as I bring the carriage across. When I get to the other end, I want to take the yarn out from the side, the weaving yarn, and I'm going to leave it here for it to catch in as we bring it the other way. Now I've opted to select KC1 on my dial, so end needle selection will be on. If you put it to KC2 for this machine, the 950i, it won't select the end needles, but I always want the end needles to select so that the woven yarn will always go to the end of the work. Here's my little sample of Knitweave using a black 4-ply yarn and an iron weight for the weaving. You can see I've had a couple of spots where I've just missed the weave. That could be the weaving brushes or that I was knitting too fast. But it gives quite a dense fabric. However, it means on the inside there are no floats. But again, you could also use this as your show side if you like how it looks. But the one with the floats, or the wrong side, is usually what is destined to be the show side. Have an experiment with different yarns, different types, thicknesses, textures of yarn, and see what you come up with. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave a comment, and until the next time, you've been watching Button Mouse the Wee Machine Knitter.